All right, hi guys. Today we are going to be looking at chapter 4 in tissues. So there's 4 major tissue types: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. We're just going to look at epithelial today because that is the largest group. Right, so quick review from beginning of the year. Histology is the study of tissues. So a histologist is someone that studies specifically tissues, and they can be studying them for diseases, they can be studying the cells, how it works, growing skin, etc. So this is an intro to tissues. I'm going to have you watch. You do need to take some notes on your paper. Of course, we have the ad. There we go. All right. I'm going to go back to this. All right, so next one is tissues. Those are layers or groups of similar cells with a common function, like what we just learned in the video. So please write that down on your worksheet. They can be distinguished from each other by variations, so differences in cell size, shape, organization, and function. So just like what he showed with the muscle cells. So these are the four main ones. So we're going to be looking mostly at epithelial tissue today. In that video, he talked about nervous tissue and also muscle tissue. And then we will also be going on into connective tissue later. All right, so let's start with epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissues are found throughout the entire body, so everywhere. They cover body surfaces and organs. They form the inner lining of body cavities. They line hollow organs. And they also compose glands. So if you forgot what compose means, that's makes. Right, so here is a picture. This is what this is an example of epithelial tissue. Is this right here on this side and this side. Okay. So again, just a little more examples. They can be, we're going to be going over simple cuboidal. They help form tubes. We have stratified squamous. That is going to be in part of your esophagus. Simple squamous. Squamous is a shape. And simple columnar. So we're going to be going through all of these. All right, so features of the epithelial tissue. They lack blood vessels. The nutrients, so how do they get nutrients if they lack vessels? Those nutrients diffuse to epithelium from underlying connective tissue, which does have lots of blood vessels. If you don't remember what diffusion is, you need to pause this and look it up right now. Another feature is they rapidly divide. Okay, so that means injuries, wounds, anything like that, we need to heal them. So they heal rapidly because these cells divide rapidly. So as new cells replace lost and damaged ones, we can go through these pretty quick. And cells are tightly packed. They are tightly packed and pushed together to form protective barriers. So this is a picture where the red line now goes. Here's our epithelial tissue right here. This is my sort of line right here. And then this is the connective tissue down here. This connective tissue has all the blood vessels in it. And so all the nutrients, oxygen, everything that this epithelial tissue needs diffuses from here to here. The last kind of feature for epithelial tissue is epithelial tissue always has a free surface, or one that is exposed to the outside or to an open space internally. So epithelial tissue is not in between other tissues. You're always going to have one side that's kind of facing out, either to the outside world or to outside structures or to like a tube. So in this case, this is part of the intestines, I believe. These are little cilia. This is a basement membrane, what we're talking about coming up. This is our connective tissue down here, and this is opening up into space. Right here, so this is again a tube. So your epithelial tissue is right here, but it has one side that is open. All right, so this picture right here is the underside. Okay, so we've just like the last picture that we looked at. So right here's the epithelial tissue, down here is the connective tissue. The underside is always anchored to our connective tissue by a thin, non-living layer called the basement membrane. So there's just another thin layer of tissue that kind of holds everything together, and we call that the basement membrane. right, functions of epithelial tissue. Why do we have it? Protection. It protects us from other tissues, and it also protects other tissues. Sensation. A lot of your receptors are stored inside epithelial tissue, and that way you can feel hot, cold, hard, soft, and a lot of other sensations. Secretion. You have glands, and we'll be getting more into the types of glands that we have when we go into skin. Absorption, so nutrients, oxygen, etc. And excretion, getting rid of waste. So these are all functions of our epithelial tissue. So types of epithelium. So there's the classification. It's classified according to shape and number. So we are going to be going through all of these. We're not going to get through all of them in one day, but we're going to start with the number of layers. So if it's number of layers, and then please write this down. If it's simple, it means there's only a single layer, just like this picture right here. So simple is one layer. Stratified is two or more layers. So right here, if there's 2 or 3 or 4, that's going to be stratified. So anytime you see simple, you know it's one layer. Stratified is 2 layers. And then please put this picture in your notes. It doesn't have to be perfect, but label it simple. And then draw our little cells here and stratified. And draw something that looks like this here. Moving on, we're going to be drawing this too. This is the shape. So shape. First, when you see squamous, that means thin, flattened cells. Squamous. We have cuboidal. That one's pretty much just like its name. It's a cube, cube-like cells. And columnar, elongated cells. They are elongated. So they would look like this. They're squamous, thin, flattened. Cuboidal, little cubes. And columnar, they look like columns. Okay, again, please draw these and draw, label, and then write what these are in your notes. So again, here are pictures. Simple squamous looks like this. Simple one layer. Squamous is those flattened cells. Simple cuboidal, it is one layer. Cubes, simple columnar, looks like this. So stratified squamous would look like this, many layers of these thin and flattened cells, and stratified cuboidal looks like this. These are the main ones we're going to talk about. There's a couple other exceptions. All right, so simple squamous, please write this down in your notes. It consists of a single layer of thin, flattened cells that fit tightly together, kind of like floor tiles. They have broad, thin nuclei. Substances pass easily through. Diffusion and filtration happens here. Are easily damaged. So why do we have these? What is the function? We need them for filtration, diffusion, osmosis, and it also covers surfaces. So locations, these are just some locations. This is not all of them. We have the simple squamous lining the air sacs, so the alveoli of the lungs. These are the actual sacs that inflate and deflate, and where we let go of carbon dioxide and bring in oxygen. It forms the walls of capillaries, our smallest blood vessels, and then blood and lymph vessels. And then by blood vessels, besides capillaries, your veins and arteries, and lymph, hopefully you remember with your immune system, your lymph vessels carry lymph. I wanted to say lymph juice just because that's the first thing that came to mind, but it's not lymph juice. It's a lymph fluid that carries bacteria and bad things in your body, gets rid of them that way. It's actually just called lymph. And then it covers the membranes that line your body cavities. And here's just a couple of pictures. So you have the surface right here. Okay, this is looking at your lungs. your simple squamous epithelial. So it's these ones right here. And you can see the nuclei. You have the basement membrane, which is just going to be the bottom, and connective tissue. So basement membrane, connective tissue. And here's a little bit better pictures. You have kind of the drawing version over here and the real life microscope picture over here. So you have like a free surface on the top, nucleus, always facing out. And this is on the lungs. Please add this picture to your notes. You're going to draw it and label it. You don't have to color it. I know it's not going to be perfect, but go ahead and get kind of the basic outline in there. And then make sure that your labels are pointing to the right thing. Actually, sorry, draw this one. Much easier to draw. But again, kind of make sure everything is labeled appropriately. Just pause it here. And then when you're ready, move on to the next one, which is simple cuboidal. So that is a single layer of cube-shaped cells, which are centrally located. They're spherical nuclei. So again, simple means one layer, or single layer, cuboidal, cube-like cells. Function, why do we need them? They help with secretion and absorption. Where are we going to find them? They line the follicles of the thyroid gland, covers the ovaries, and also lines the kidney, salivary, pancreas, and liver ducts and tubules. So again, here is a picture right here. These are your kidneys down here, and they do filter all your blood. That's why you have some major blood vessels going into them. I'm going to go to the next one because it's a little bit better picture. So again, here's your microscope view. You can see in the middle where it says lumen, that's just the hollowed out spot right here. Okay, so that is hollow. And then you have the cell membrane, the nucleus, basement membrane would be here. This is your free surface. So again, because this is hollowed out, the lumen, that is open to a free surface. And then this is your simple cuboidal epithelium, single layer, and connective tissue down here. So you can see this is what it looks like stained. Okay, so here's the microscope view again, nice and big so you can see. And then this is what I would like you to draw in your notes. So again, please make sure, I know it's not going to be perfect, but get everything labeled appropriately. All right, we're going to move on to one last one for the day, and that is your simple columnar. So they are single, simple layer of elongated, like columns, cells whose nuclei are usually near the basement membrane. So the nucleus is usually going to be closer towards the bottom. Sometimes these have cilia, sometimes they don't have cilia. And those are little like hair-like projections at the top that can help either grab things or help it move around. Tissue is thick. This is thicker tissue, and that's to help protect underlying tissue. So why do we need this? It's for protection, secretion, and absorption. Where is it located? It lines the uterus, stomach, and intestines. Okay, so these places are all going to be in high use. A lot of pressure is put on them, a lot of work goes through them. So this does have to be strong. Again, here is a smaller picture, and I'm going to go, so we're looking at the stomach right here and the intestines, but we're going to go to the larger version here. So you do have your connective tissue up here. This is connective tissue up here and down here as well. And then we have, these are the nucleus. Notice on both sides, this is your basement membrane connecting it to the connective tissue. So basement membrane, the nucleus is closer to that basement membrane. We have microvilli, which is the cilia. They're little projections. And in this case, you're looking at the intestines. So this is helping grab food and like move everything through. There is mucus in here. that helps in protection from your stomach acids. We have something called a goblet cell, which we'll get into those later. Those are kind of cool, and they look like that. And then just extra cytoplasm. That's where your mitochondria and all those organelles are going to be. So here again is an up-close microscope view. And here is the one you need to draw and label. So please go ahead and do that. Please make sure you are pointing all your labels to the correct thing. You will be having a quiz on this. And we are going to stop here. And we'll be moving on and finishing this up a little bit later this week.